Hello, Cardinal Nation, and welcome back to Cardinal Cast. As always, I'm your host, Lonnie Watson, high school counselor, joined by Jerry Mack, high school principal, PAL. How's it going?
Pal. Having a good day. We're getting soaked with a ton of rain during our golf invite right now. But
oh, boy, howdy. The only year I'm thankful not to coach.
That's your first year you're not coaching.
Well, that might have been a blessing there. Sorry, Coach Bach and the CHS girls golf team.
It's amazing insight that you have.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Oh, a golf tournament in the rain. Oh my gosh, there's not many worse things. Your feet are wet. I hate my feet being wet. I don't know. Facebook Live, welcome. YouTube, we're here. I may or may not be sitting on a phone book right now to get some extra height if the internet world is interested to know that. Yes, look at how tall I am.
Props pick you up.
I'm proud of it. I'm not even going to lie that I am sitting on a phone book right now. We are live. We changed our day.
Yeah, we did change our day.
Mondays are just too crazy. They're just too crazy, you guys. I just couldn't do it anymore.
What made us think Monday would even work?
I don't know. It was a terrible idea. I love doing it, and I think they're worthwhile. But we're going to have to move to Tuesdays.
Yeah. Mondays, your office you deal with similar things that I do with students, but one thing that a high school principal deals with on Monday morning is weekends of Snapchat and texting. Yeah, the social media stuff. And it's not every Monday, but this Monday was one of those.
It was a Monday.
It's your young kids who just need trained, and so it takes up some time. And so you're spending your time with kids who are mad at each other from the weekend and things that we didn't know were going on until all of a sudden they're in our office.
You bet, but we'll take care of them.
Yep.
Take kids first. So we decided Tuesdays will be our new day. So join us live every Tuesday at noon, and it actually gives me a chance to on Mondays kind of get the word out too. So I'll give you reminders on Monday that we'll go live on Tuesdays. But today we are talking attendance.
Yeah, this one was kind of my idea, I think. Mm-hmm. We have a list of topics we want to roll through, but last week I had an opportunity to be in Kearney for an MTSS summit, and one of the presenters was showing statistics and data, which I don't have all with me. I'll just kind of see if I can relay some of that. But they were talking about attendance, and it makes it sound like it's a parent issue, which obviously there is responsibility at home, but there's also responsibility on us school officials to see that we can assure that students are in the classroom as much as they can for instruction.
Ooh, and those kids are out of the classroom a lot, you guys. We're busy. We're busy bees at Chadron High School, and I love that about our kids, though, because they're involved in everything.
Yeah, and that's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have,
And I think every day at lunch we have lunch meetings now. Mm-hmm. Like today, football. I think running backs and linemen were watching film. Mm-hmm. So we have all these extra students, during the lunch hour. FFA, FBLA, the 1X just started practice. I saw that they were here in the building last night. But just a lot of different things going on. We try to protect the instruction time as best we can. We'll talk about how that's changed over the years. But it's still one of those where students are out of the classroom. It just feels like a lot.
It does. So. And they're busy. There's nothing worse, and I think we feel you said I got the opportunity to go to MSS or MTSS. That's great. I love this opportunity because I know how much you hate being out of the building, because we feel it too. Yeah. A day out of my office, and I'm sure a day out of your office is a lot more work, and the kids are the same way. They know that a day out of class it equals a lot of work. And I remind kids around this time of year and parents, because we're 5 weeks in, I think we're on our 5th week now with kids, where the honeymoon phase is over in classes, and I still get a lot of that, can I switch classes kind of talk, and tell them 90 minutes in a 90-minute class right now, that's every day is like 2 days. Yeah. So if you miss one day, it really is 2 days worth of material, because most schools are on an 8-period block. So 1 day missed, that's why I tell kids with changing classes, I mean, we're 5 weeks in, that's like 10 weeks. There's a full quarter that has gone by in any other class to go into. But missing school, man, 1 day is 2 in my world.
Well, in some of the research I saw, I was talking about chronic absences. Mm-hmm. And we go, well, my kid misses some days here and there, but they're not chronic. Well, chronic is 2 days a month. 2 days a month is 18 days. That's missing a month of school. I mean, that's chronic. It's chronic to miss 2 days per month. And as you know, we have a lot of students gone for activities, and yes, they're excused absences, but it still takes them out of the classroom. We talk about, for this time of year, it's girls softball and we have girls golf season.
It's hard.
And in
I
the
lived
spring,
it. Yep.
and in the spring it'll be the boys
Yep.
golf season, but they miss days.
Yep.
Because the travel is further. They have to compete during the week. Kids, miss school, and that instruction time, you don't get it back. It's hard to recover on your own. And then like we're at this time of year too in September that the homework is just starting to hit. Not every class has a lot of homework, but those few that do, it's hitting kids pretty hard because now activities are rolling full speed. The homework is rolling full speed, and you can just see the stress levels, in the kids. And truthfully, that's kind of what we need them to experience.
Yeah.
That, we talk about resiliency, and part of what we're trying to do is teach kids how to be stronger, how to be advocates for themselves. And so that's kind of where we're at in the school year right now. But just to talk about attendance, the line that I saw last week that kind of perked me up a little bit, and I'm just going to read this quote. It says,
Love quotes. Read a quote. Put it on a cute little thing in cursive.
This is a research quote.
Yeah, okay, it's not cute.
It's not like Maya Angelou or anything.
Oh, darn it. Brene Brown.
Yeah. So it says, the best predictor of student growth is academic engaged time. And academic engaged time is how many minutes per week the student is engaged in quality instruction.
Ooh, engaged. I like that word.
Yeah. And so that, to me, in obviously being absent from school, whether you overslept or sick or, things happen, family trips, school activities. But they're talking about that quality instruction piece that you're missing. And one thing that I think Chadron High School has a record now of doing pretty well is the quality of instruction. If we can get students in front of these phenomenal teachers, good things are going to happen.
Absolutely.
That's where the instruction is. But one thing they're talking about in the research is just the kids that are out of the room because they're at the office, because they're with the school counselor, because they have to do scheduling. So as you know, we pick and choose the time of day where we pull kids out if it's our choice.
Yeah.
And we'll take them out of that class that it's not homework heavy.
Right. And I'll just even talk about that. I have had to get more strategic in my job on when to take kids out. And obviously I'm like a recovering people pleaser, so I never want to make the teachers unhappy, but I a lot of times have kids who want to come into my office for the whole 90 minutes and talk, and sometimes we need to, but if we can get them back to class, or I'm the queen of, like, right now I have to pull seniors for a quick 15-20 minute senior meeting just to get our feet under us, know how to find scholarships, do all those things, but the more information that I can pump out, when parents call and say, will you pull my kid out of class? It's like, no, you don't want me to do that. Because, we've got teachers that are just so good. If you jump out of Mrs. Lanfear's class for 20 minutes, you are missing a lot of material.
Yeah, you'd miss what it took me an hour to teach.
Absolutely. Me too.
Or those math classrooms, as you know, it's a lot of... you're practicing problems that are about to show up on the homework, and you're missing that practice time where the teacher's kind of walking through the problems, or students are taking turns, working together. And so now all of a sudden you got to do all that by yourself, and that's stressful. Science would be another example of that as well. So,
although I did get to work a little trig with this young woman today too.
It
was just while my heart was ready to explode. Got my math roots in.
We had trig going on in 3 different rooms
this morning.
Good. Yeah. The trig teacher, he had a class of about 12, and another math teacher, he had 2, and I saw you had one as well. I did.
It was lovely. I enjoyed that.
I do too. I did too. Didn't quite have time for it this morning, but I did get to peek on it a little bit. So
heck yeah.
But that's that instruction time that we're missing. And just to back this up, so when I started as a principal, and this is my 9th year, when I started as a principal, I kind of did away, right or wrong, you can judge me. I did away with like school assemblies. I just
we don't do a lot of those.
It's just we had like. I'm not talking or pep rallies, which we still do pep rallies, but we don't do them every week. Well, those of us my age, we remember we used to do pep rallies
all the time.
Like every Friday, like every home game was a pep rally. Parents would come in. Of course, homecoming would be the biggest, and that still is for us. Our student council actually visited with me last year, and we actually did a spring pep rally just because they wanted to have fun and do the skits. So there's still value for that, but when I went to school, it was like every Friday you'd get out a little early, or Fridays were game day. Game day meaning
cards.
you could play cards and
Let's watch a movie.
Yeah. And I think, when No Child Left Behind kind of came around, that's when that changed, in my opinion. But we were slow to make the change. In other words, schools became accountable for the first time publicly. And that's what changed the game. And I think that's a good thing. I think schools should be accountable.
Well, it has to be, because when you think of it, when they get to my level and they're seniors, the ACT is curriculum based. So if you're not learning all you can while you're in that English class or in that math class, then we're doing a disservice to kids. I'm constantly trying to flip that when we're uncomfortable in class by how much we're learning. That's why we rank so high, you guys, because when our kids are in class, they're engaged because our teachers are so good. And then their scores are off the charts, and they're getting all this money. So, I mean, again, the flip in there is more time engaged, the more curriculum they learn, and our teachers are so good at aligning it with what they need to know. So we've got some phenomenal teachers.
And I've noticed recently, I've relaxed a little bit more because things just happen. Like, there needs to be a class meeting. I'm sorry, we need to steal 15 minutes. We really do try to protect the instruction time, though, but it just used to be like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, it just wasn't that uncommon that, okay, all seniors need to go to the auditorium, and now we're going to have an assembly of whatever group came in that wants to present, and it's a promotional thing for them, and they get the attention of all of our student body. We just limit that, and in fact, what was the last assembly we had? That's my point too. I'm sure
that one that I remember that was great.
So we just we're trying to do our job with the attendance piece. In other words, trying to make sure that kids are in the classrooms in front of the teacher as much as possible. But that being said, I'm sure we fail too, because we have to pull them out for, maybe it's counseling that they're again, we get to pick and choose the schedule so it doesn't affect them too much. When the orthodontist is in town, because I bet we have 20 some kids in that day that have ortho appointments.
I always know when Dr. Webb's in town.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We just roll them through every 15, 20 minutes.
And that's a scenario where we can't just pick and choose because of their schedule. I mean, we got to get all these 20 kids or whatever through. So it doesn't always work that way. But I think this, with today's broadcast of this, it just kind of, I want parents to know that we're trying to do our job to protect the instruction time and put the students in front of the teachers as much as possible. The other issue that's happening is the students that are absent from school. And so we've been in school for 18 school days, and we've had students miss 4 already. And you're on track for chronic absenteeism if you're missing 4 days already. Because again, 2 days a month doesn't sound like a lot, but that's missing 18 days in a school year.
And we're not talking about kids and activities that we know are pre-planned. Right. They go in ahead of time. They are good. I mean, our softball, golf, but they are good at getting their stuff. I mean, it's hard, but that's not who we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So just, we're just appealing to the public that attendance and getting kids in front of classes, their teachers, is super important. It's the number one predictor of student growth, of academic growth, is just having the student in front of the teacher while quality instruction's going on.
Absolutely.
The other thing I ran into, and I didn't get a chance to share this with you, but there was this, and you're kind of a little bit of a data nerd, not as much as me maybe.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah, you're a math nerd.
I'm a nerd. I'll be a nerd. I'm sitting on a phone book right now. Let's go. I'm here for it. All right, lay it on me.
We're both ex-math teachers, so we know the number thing. But the data that, I think it's Attendance Works, came out with a report in 2016, but it was showing how absences in kindergarten, and then how that had a negative impact on instruction and academic growth to first grade. And that continued. And they're talking about roughly 2 days a month that the students are gone. So they're tracking those students versus those who are gone less. And they see that the academic growth, once you get behind in kindergarten to first grade, then from first grade to second grade, and by third grade, just because of the students who are gone 20 days a year, they're a full grade level behind in reading.
Wow.
And it just blew my mind how it starts there. They can take attendance data from kindergarten and predict, it's one of the highest correlations with high school graduation.
That's crazy.
It's just ridiculous. And they said the next strongest data point is the freshman year. The freshman year attendance, not test scores. It specifically said not test scores. freshman year attendance correlates super strong with high school graduation.
I'd believe it.
I absolutely believe it. We've always said attendance. You show up every day with average effort. You're going to get a scholarship from this school because it's a good school.
Average effort. We're not even talking about above effort. Average effort, everyday attendance. You're going to get a scholarship.
Yeah. They're going to be scholarshipped. So that data was just blowing me away that it starts in kindergarten. Kindergarten through second grade. Those 3 years that can put students a full grade level behind. Once you're a grade level behind, that's what the state of Nebraska is trying to do right now. They're putting in these state laws about, well, you got to have them at grade level by the end of third grade. Well, that's because of attendance.
Right.
And so now it's a school problem. It's like a school official is going to fix the attendance to get the kid in school more. And we do try. We try more. I've sent more attendance letters and emails home in the last week because my theory this year is I got to hit it hard in September.
Right.
And that's why this video is going out. If we can hit it hard, get this message out, how important attendance is, and push it in September, maybe we can kind of protect and help the student out the rest of the school year.
And I want parents who are watching this, and maybe students who are my type A's out there, my real colored golds, if you've done that training with me, to know we're not talking today about that awesome family reunion that you only get to go to once or twice in a few years, or amazing opportunity for you to connect with your kids on a college visit. That is not what we're talking about here. I think sometimes, and this is why I worry about this message of those of us who are watching us, we get in our head that we have to have perfect attendance certificates, and there's no such thing as that. So take your kid on a college visit. Take them out for, even if it's going to be tough for them to make up the work, go do some of those things that make you stronger as a unit. Go do them in the summer. I mean, we get so worked up over, and you guys, I've been a coach. This is the first time in a decade I haven't coached a thing. We get so worried that if my kid misses the weight room that one time, or if we miss that one camp or heck, we've got ACTs, you guys, that are going to be on Saturdays, and kids have to make hard choices on, do I take the ACT, which could potentially thousands of dollars, or do I not play that game on? That is a hard choice, and I don't have the answer to what you guys need to do as a family. But I just want to make sure everyone knows that's not what I'm talking about. If you get an awesome opportunity with your family to go do something, that is great. I think what we're getting at is that chronic absenteeism where, like, maybe I just didn't feel like going to school, so I told mom, like, I got a headache, or, those kind of things. Send them to school. Send them to school, have Nurse Abby and Nurse Jenny check them out, give them a thermometer, check their temperature, see how they're doing, and if they're okay, they can go to class. I mean, it's not always, like, I'm not saying they're faking they're sick, they really could be. Our nurses will check them out. Like, if you're worried that you just don't know whether they should be at school or not, we can handle that, right?
That's why we have nurses.
Absolutely.
No, I'm glad you said that, because that jumps right to part two, which I haven't haven't got there yet, I guess, but is not the quality instruction of the teacher clearly is what we're trying to protect, but not all education takes place at school or in a classroom. And so some of those absences, for instance, when the students get to be a senior, we'll excuse a couple of college visits.
You betcha.
Because that's more important. That's the education they need. That's what's appropriate at that time, is to go see a college campus if that's what they're looking at.
Absolutely.
A friend of mine that took his daughter and went to show, I'll just say a livestock judging. It was a livestock show out of state. That's education.
Absolutely.
I might not be able to excuse it, and we can track it that way. That's not what we're talking about.
Don't stress that.
But that's what's important. Those are still experiences that are important, and you have our full support. I hope you know that. To have those students out of the classroom once in a while. But those are usually the ones where they know they're going to be gone, and they can get the homework, they can get the help before they go.
Yeah, when you know you're going to be gone, that's the easy stuff. Because even though it's hard and it's gritty, you can get the work, you can do it. Yeah. Yeah,
so we're talking about sleeping in, not feeling good, and like last year the flu was terrible in this community, and we had more illness absences, and we excuse a bunch of those if we have the doctor notes, but I mean, it just is what it is. But there's sometimes it's like the cold or whatever. It just seems like I don't know if that necessarily creates 20 to 30 days of absences throughout a school year.
Right.
So that's the chronic stuff that we're talking about. We're just asking parents to be aware of their responsibility in this too of what it's doing to the students, because then the data goes on to show that once you're behind academically, then the social emotional stuff happens, the stress of you don't feel comfortable in the classroom because you're behind, and you have that avalanche effect going on. So I think if parents are aware, and if parents hear that we're concerned with how often we're pulling them out to come to our offices.
Absolutely.
We have to balance it too.
It's a real thing I fight with every day.
Yeah.
Oh, I want that kid, but I don't want to pull. You just have to be strategic.
Yeah.
And we have long passing periods too. That's where I tend to sneak my kiddos and teachers and us who are here before and after school and all the times for all the things. One thing I want to jump on too is since I took this job, I learned a lot more about state regulations, and the state of Nebraska will not let us give credit, or we should not give credit to a student who misses more than 10 days per semester.
Yep.
So in my world where the transcript is paramount, like let's get that credit on that transcript. We have to be, and those are not excused, those are unexcused. But state of Nebraska is really picky about what we can excuse, whether it's a school activity or if you have a doctor's. That's why it's nice when you send them to the school nurse, send them to school to get their, to see if they're sick or not, because we could excuse that then.
If our nurse sends them home, we'll excuse it.
Yep, so that, it's always good to know, because if you get close to those 10 days and you get that attendance letter, that means that the state of Nebraska is kind of breathing down our necks too on whether we can give them credit.
Let me jump in here. I think there are 4
I think you're right.
Types of days that we're allowed by policy to excuse. One is a verified illness, which we just go by a doctor note. If you were at the clinic, that just bring us the note. So a doctor note we'll excuse. I'm on the spot now. One is court, if a student has a court appearance. One is school activities, any school-sponsored activity is excused. And then there's this gray area 4th one, and it's kind of written in our policies anyway, so it gives me a little gray area, but principal excused. So in other words, the administrator of the building can excuse, and I've done that occasionally, but you really don't have to for students that, we just haven't run into that where I've had to step in and excuse students, because you get 10 days a semester, that's 20 a year is what state law allows. So those are the 4 that are excused, and then everything else is just called unexcused, and unexcused might mean you're on a family trip, it might mean...
Doesn't mean it's bad, it's actually could be super healthy.
Yeah. So,
not college visits, we'll excuse that.
See, that's one where a principal excuse, so that's one
job
where I
shadow, we'll excuse that.
Yeah, we'll excuse job shadow.
Yep.
So just work with us. I think if you're aware that that's what impacts student academic growth from year to year more than anything else is attendance, being in the classroom with the teachers.
And I mean, I kind of feel like it's one of those areas where we could talk policy, but you just got to use some common sense, right? And it's just like, don't be dumb about it. If it's an enriching experience for you and your kid, go do it. Like, it's worth it. You know when it's worth it or not. And if it's not, just remember that they are missing valuable instruction that could pay off. Like, if you want to know what's in it for me, maybe that scholarship, maybe that ACT score, maybe that graduating on time. We're all at different levels of this whole high school experience. So you guys know. You guys are the experts on that. We're not going to ever guilt you, but if we get to those 10 days, we are going to have attendance team meeting, and those are kind of not fun for kids.
Yeah, they're not fun for any
They're
of
not
us.
fun for me either, I know.
It's like, why are you late? What can we help you with? We try to help them develop a plan. Do you need an alarm clock?
I'd buy an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Get those phones out of their bedrooms, like I said.
I heard parents report back to me on that.
Did they?
They saw our video.
Are they okay with it?
Said, yeah. Well, they said.
It's not in my room. I take mine
out. One parent asked, has my kid talked to you yet?
Yeah.
Because they're really mad at you. And I'm like,
because I made them take
I'm like, what did I do? Well, because I made you said to take their phone out of the bedroom, so we did. I'm like, oh, bless you.
I'm so here for that.
Yeah.
They can be mad at me.
I love those parents.
I do too. I model it, man. That phone is out of my bedroom. I sleep like a baby.
There you go.
It's great. Actually, sleeping like a baby. A student actually told me this. Why would you ever say sleep like a baby? Did your baby sleep good when they were? I said no. She said quit saying that. So now I just said it, and I'm thinking, no.
Sleep like an old man.
I sleep like an old man. Snore my heart out.
Appreciate you, parents. You've given us some. We've got some feedback over some of these broadcasts. So we really appreciate that. just like back to the attendance talk too, just give us a call. Just give me a call.
Yep.
Visit with me if you have a concern or you have an upcoming trip. We'll take care of you every time. It might count as one of your unexcused, but you get 10 of those. I mean, use them.
Use them.
You know, I mean, if you got some educational experiences, family, once in a while, like for funerals of someone close to the family, like a immediate family member, of course we excuse that. So, again, I think we do pretty good with common sense.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes what we've run into is sometimes people don't. If you're not in the education business, you might not know some of the policies or the laws we have to follow. And so sometimes we can kind of, just through having a conversation, we can kind of fill you in on that. Had a couple of parents in this morning. So thankful they come in and visit, you know, just to share, you know, what the concern is or what their question is. And it's like, that's so much easier to work with.
I had one too.
Yeah, we might not have the answer, but at least we know the question.
Well, and it makes more sense in context, just what we do know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I had a great conversation with parents this morning
I did too. I love that stuff, you know. You know, and sometimes we don't always agree either, but as an adult, the older I get, the more I realize that's okay.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm a people pleaser.
Recovering.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm still there. I haven't recovered.
Definitely.
It's a work in progress. Hey, I want to plug, I hosted, and I know it's overwhelming as many events as I'm hosting now this year, but hosted a financial aid meeting last night, brought my friend Andrew in to talk about the FAFSA. This is for all parents. Financial aid is confusing. It's good to get a head start on it. So I think what I'm going to try to do, very similar to the senior workshop, is I'll try to put a podcast together and throw it on YouTube and throw it on maybe Facebook, maybe 15 minutes of just a recap of what Andrew talked about for anyone who missed it. So,
you know, after the board meeting, I
saw
stopped
you,
upstairs.
Yeah,
I saw the FAFSA parent meeting, and so I sat there a little bit, and then joined the FFA alumni for just a little bit before they got their meeting started. But the thing about FAFSA, and I've gone through it as a parent, my two children have gone through college and finished. It's such a scary thing. I visited with one of the parents this morning, like, what'd you think? And like, was it overwhelming? And they said, yes, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it is.
And it changes every year or two. But if you just schedule the appointment with Education Quest when Andrew comes in, it takes all the stress away, walk you right through. It's the best advice I can give you. And then you don't have to worry. I mean, as a parent, then you get to see the dollar figures and figure it out from there.
Absolutely.
But the FAFSA itself should not be stressful if you just come and schedule an appointment.
Nope. It's kind of like when kids have, we say, chronic absence. Like they get this overwhelm, right? They come back and it's overwhelmed. That whole college going to process is overwhelming. That's why I tell kids we just eat that elephant one bite at a time. FAFSA is just eat it one bite at a time. FAFSA is a small chunk, small bite. One of the first things now that we need to do. So I'll throw a video together, put it up for parents and students who missed that meeting because it's good for everybody.
Agreed.
It's more meetings.
Anything else?
No, I got nothing. I maybe want to plug. No, next week I'll plug that. I think I'm clear sailing the rest of this week.
I haven't done a 2-minute drill yet. I haven't had much feedback on that, the 2-minute drills. If I can find something that, you know, in roughly 2 minutes, some how-to or some topic, hopefully I'll get one of those posted this week as well.
Perfect. I'm here for that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Cardinal Nation. If you like it, if you think someone benefit from it, share it. Subscribe on YouTube. Put some comments down here below on the Facebook link. And we will see you next week on Tuesday now. Not Monday. Tuesday. Bye, Facebook.